Hello, ineffable being. How are you doing? I want to share with you that you are a genius. You are special. You mean the world, and you are loved. Today, we're talking about pleasure. Quite frankly, I sound like a broken record. I make all these videos. This is topic 121. So, I've recorded 242 videos. Remember, I do them in English and Spanish. And every single video, I'm talking about one thing. If you know what that one thing is, write it down in the comments. Every video, I talk about one thing. It's to live through the heart. It's to create an ineffable life. What is ineffable? So great that you can't put it into words. So pleasure is a funny thing. Well, let me digress. To live through the heart, we have to start with talking about conscious. How conscious are you? How much of life have you accepted? How much of your life have you accepted? Have you accepted to live, to integrate your non-physical aspects, emotions, thoughts, imagery, vision, consciously? Sure, you have unconscious thoughts. Science says you have 50 to 60,000 thoughts in one day. No wonder a lot of you are, I think so much. That's one of the biggest searched terms, keywords in Google and on YouTube. How to stop thinking. I think too much. Well, that's your unconscious thoughts. You can be conscious. I was at one point, I was just repeating love. So, let's say you repeat love at the top of every hour that you're awake, and let's say you are awake 16 hours a day. So, technically, you had 16 conscious thoughts that day versus your a million unconscious, unfavorable, unwelcoming thoughts. So, it's really your decision. But we're not talking about consciousness. Not so much. We're talking about pleasure. But to understand pleasure, you have to understand who you are, where you come from. Are you living Are you living your life from only your physical part? You're two-sided coin. I'm a two-sided coin. I'm physical and I'm not physical. I used to believe that seductive paradigm that is to not think is to best think. Like that was me. I preached it. I was like, this is it. I don't have to do anything with my internal intelligence and I'm going to get everything. I lived it. So, pleasure. Pleasure is an interesting topic because there's so much pleasure. There's pleasure at your work. I find pleasure in my work all day. Not my video recording. I still have a corporate job. And I find so much pleasure. I mean, I'm so excited leaving Friday afternoons. My Excel is clean. I know everything's in front of me. I know that I'm coming into work Monday to an organized desk. I have everything I have to do. Um, like different colors of importance and what other pleasures do we have? Well, I like my food. My last video was about comfort food and how you should really like not eat comfort food. So go watch that video. It's an amazing video. I mean, you want energy, you want keys, like that is the video to listen to. So my food, I love my food. That brings me pleasure. What brings me pleasure? Doing, like, I'm living my dream. My dream is to raise the collective consciousness. And I'm doing it. And I find so much pleasure in that. Like so much pleasure. Um I have pleasure in my own conscious activity, like what I've decided to do consciously. What have I decided to do consciously? I'm cultivating a vision of the future. I am creating an elevated emotion. Like that makes me happy. That gives me pleasure. It gives me pleasure that my energy non-locally affects others. I go into an office and I'm not in space-time reality. I'm in a time-space reality. So like I don't have to go to the beach, to the forest. I don't even have to meditate to find peace or happiness. Like that's inside of me because I'm consciously doing it. Doesn't matter what I'm doing, but I already have it because I'm consciously doing it. Like that to me is pleasure. What is pleasure for you? Like put down in the comments. And the reason why I talk about consciousness is because, I mean, I remember when I wasn't living consciously. And like, I don't know, it's just different. Life isn't really happening for you. I mean, the universe is always happening to you. I swear by it, And I still believe that even when you're not being conscious, the universe is happening for you still, but it's like, to what degree? If you're not consciously making yourself feel good, if you're not consciously sending signals of how you want to feel, if you're not consciously painting a vision of the future that you want, like, how much of the universe is happening to you? Like, to what degree, right? We know it's happening for you, but to what degree is it happening? I don't know. Like, I mean, you have to ask that yourself. I I understand the science. I understand where my unconscious thoughts come from, which is the largest neural network that I have in my brain, and 9 out of 10, like, chances are that's, or was, a negative reality, because the biggest neural networks are the experiences from our past that are most energetically charged. And we're the most advanced human being because we remember situations when we are experiencing these survival hormones, so that if in the future they occur again, I know how to get out of danger. Does that make sense? Like, I mean, life is so simple. Something that gives me pleasure is understanding how simple life is. Like, I can I can make myself feel happy, and the result of that is my immune system is better and my thoughts are better, and I'm going to have the energy to create videos every single day. I'm going to have energy to have a personal development hour, research and development hour, right, time to read, time to trade forex and binary, and still have a 9 to 5. Like, that's ineffable. If you don't know what ineffable is, that's a clear picture of what an ineffable is. I didn't really know. I don't have scripts on my videos. I don't record and like edit, or I shoot them, Ralph Smart. I think I got it, or I did get it from him. I shoot in one take, and what comes out, one comes out. But when it comes to pleasure, I just want you to know that you have everything you need to create pleasantness within and pleasantness without. The biggest question in in a baby adult. What's a baby adult? A baby adult is when you become conscious that you can be conscious. In other ways, in other terms, and another name for that is your first awakening. Your first awakening could be when you're 15, 12, 18, 20, 25. Your first awakening is when you become conscious that you can be conscious. After that, for a lot of people, the biggest question in life is to be or to not be. A lot of people believe to not be is to best be. And even more people are never going to push the envelope. They're never going to be they're never going to be conscious to see what happens over there. Like, what is that side of the world? Like, how does it taste? What's the experience? What do I get from it? What are the results? How does it make me feel? What can I do? How conscious can I be? So when it comes to pleasure, there's a whole bunch of pleasure. Psychedelics, I mean, I approve of psychedelics. I think they're a great resource. I think sex is an amazing pleasure. But if it's what does Sadhguru say? If it's compulsive, what's compulsive mean? Well, you're a dog, you're chasing your tail, you're going in circles. If you stopped doing something, and then you go back to doing something, and then you stop doing something, well, you're compulsive. A lot of the drugs we do are compulsive. A lot of the sex habits we have are compulsive. The things we eat are compulsive. So I think consciousness has a lot to do with pleasure. And the thing is, I think the number one thing that I like to leave you with today is how much how much impulse, how many signals, how much do you want your external life to give you pleasure? That's a serious question. I know if you're hearing this, you're not living through the heart, or if you're an intermediate conscious person, that's like you create thought, or you sometimes create imagination, but you just haven't jumped into the heart to create it always. The idea is like, it might be hard for you to believe like you can internally, without doing nothing, just be in bliss. Like, that's a possibility for the average person that lives in corporate America, that works 16 hours, that has a girlfriend, that loves to likes a good at night out. Like, I mean, that's possible for someone that has an iPhone. You're saying that people in modern day can experience this? I thought like only hippies or tree huggers or gurus or monks, like that's a possibility, and it is. If this channel is about anything, if I am about anything, then that's my message. Like you can I mean, and I'm not going to get into conspiracy and what elites and powerful people do, but I'm pretty sure they're very conscious. I'm pretty sure, like, I'm pretty sure, like, there's not a billionaire who doesn't think consciously. So I want you to think about that, like, because, and I share this from where I came from. I used to think to not think was going to make me the billionaire, right? So, pleasure. There's so many ways to bring it, but how much do you want your external life to give you pleasure? Now, we all want external pleasure. That's fine and dandy. I still receive external pleasure, but first set a foundation where you don't need it. Like if your external life is giving you pleasure, like you're going to accept it. But if it's not giving you pleasure, then you're still in bliss. Like that's heaven on earth. That's my reality. That's my family's reality. And I'm not the only one. We have Sadhguru, Dr. Joe Dispenza. We have so many people sharing this. We're in 2020, perfect vision. So what is pleasure to you? How much do you want your external life to give you pleasure? And how much pleasure are you consciously creating with yourself is my question. I love you. I make these videos very direct, very in your face because I love you. I never had anyone in my journey be like, hey, you know what? Like, you really think billionaires are billionaires because they don't think? Like, I never had anyone to tell me that. And, like, I needed that. I know I wouldn't have lost my family, my relationships, my finances. Like, I wouldn't have lost myself. But luckily, like a phoenix, I burned, and from my ashes I grew, so here I am now. But you don't, like Dr. Joe Dispenza says, do you want to wait for suffering and pain to grow, or do you want to grow from a place of inspiration and joy? I love you. Please share with me what topics you'd like for me to cover in the future. And remember that I have a family. I share how to live through the heart. I give these master classes for free every month. So find me on social media, join one of these master classes, start being ineffable, living an ineffable life. Share this video with your loved ones, with your family, with your mastermind group, on your social media. I love you, and I hope to see you in the side of light. Goodbye.